District 126 has organized for this particular training to understand what is the importance of mentor. Because when it comes to Toastmaster International, it gives a high priority to a mentor and a mentee relationship, as well as having mentors, not only for club, but for individual, every single person. There are a lot of us also who are a part who do not have a mentors yet, and otherwise they don't even know what and how the benefits of having a mentor can be reaped. Another part, another segment of this particular meeting will also have a little bit about how you be a club coach. Why these two sessions today? Because mentor is the base of where you start your journey. They are the ones who are going to be not only your guiding source, but your helping hands as you move forward in your journey. So we thought, who better than somebody who has been there, done it all, experienced, and is now there to share her experience with all of you. So today we have our very pretty, gorgeous looking DTM Sravanthi joining us right from USA, Ohio, to share her experience, her journey with you, where she has been into Toastmaster for years, and not only in Toastmasters, but beyond Toastmaster. She has been a mentor, a coach, a trainer. I mean, I cannot even count how many accolades she holds to her name. If I start that, I think 50% of the meeting will go in counting her accolades. So may I please first welcome all the dignitaries that we have in the room. We have our PQD Toastmaster Sandeep. We also have our CGD Toastmaster Vikram. We also have area directors who is Jyoti, Sabiha, Shobit Datta, Sirisha, Bhumi, and we also have division directors, Division A Director, Toastmaster Janvi. We have Division F Director, Toastmaster Akhilesh. I am not sure if I have missed anybody. Yes, so I think if I have missed anybody, you can always raise your hand and tell me, hey, I'm here. We are always happy to have you all here. So now, may I please call upon DTM Sravanthi to take this journey of learning forward for all of us and leave us enriched with information which we might have missed or we might not even have thought about. Over to you, DTM Sravanthi.
Good evening, Pragya. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, friends. Wherever you are, I am delighted to be here. Thank you for choosing to attend this session. Thank you for choosing to learn a little bit about mentoring and a little more than you thought you came asking for. As Pragya said, we think about mentoring, we hear about mentoring, and to think that the entire world has less than 1% awareness about mentoring, or less than 1% of us have a mentor, have sought out a mentor, or have mentored someone around the world. It's a little bit of a surprise, isn't it? Just let that sink in. Across the world, if we think mentoring is so important, if we talk about it, whether in Toastmasters parlance or outside, and to think that less than 1% of this entire globe is benefiting from this awesomeness, you and I have work to do, don't we? Well, we will get through this. I'm told that I have 2 hours. So let's get through what we can do in terms of understanding what mentoring is all about, how we can be better mentors or mentees, and how this relationship can be productive and a life-changing, a game-changing event for all of us. We typically use the word journey. Mentorship, whether you're a mentor or a mentee, is a journey. For those of us who want to come on cameras, this is the perfect time to come on a camera. So I can feel like you are engaged, like I can see some head nods, you're smiling and you're getting what I want. So let's get started here. One of the things I absolutely believe in, and you've heard me say this before, one of the things I absolutely believe in is that we are all endowed with strengths. How many of you believe that? If you have not raised your hand, please raise it, because you and I have them within us. It is just that we have not taken the time to reflect, or we have not had anyone nudge us towards reflecting and realizing that we have that strength within us. So let's do a little bit of an icebreaker. Are you ready? It's 4 p.m. in India. I know it's right around lunchtime in some other parts of the country. For me, it is bright and early, 6:40 a.m. in the United States. So let's do an icebreaker. How about that? Okay. I want each one of us to put a word in front of our names. A word that exemplifies us, a word that excites us, a word that energizes us, or a word that you and I think is our strength. How about we take 10 seconds to do that? I'd love to see some names change here. Okay, I've changed mine. Empowerment, I see empowerment. Let's see who that is. I see fact set, I see freedom, fantastic. Optimistic. For all of us who are here, I think we can positive. Rahul is positive, he says, excellent. Sparkling, I love that. Taker, okay. Prathamesh, you can be sure I'm going to call on you. Who else? Put any word that excites you, that gets you going, that you're thinking about right now, that you want out of this session, that is important to you, that may be your strength, maybe something you're seeking, right? Just put it out there. Motivation, you are remarkable, fantastic. Influencer, solution provider. Dynamic, I like it. If you don't want to change your name, put it in the chat. Persevering. Kavita says she's persevering. Asma says success is important to her. And give me a few more. Suresh wants to leverage what's out there. Self-confidence and belief is what Raji is important to Raji. Why do you think these are important to us? Because we inherently believe they hold what we call value. Whether it's emotional value, intellectual value, spiritual, or whatever it is, or social milieu that they are creating, whatever they are, you're looking at strong faith and love, you're motivating, you're empathetic, you're a soul searcher, you value leadership, you value belief, you value responsibility, right? We each value different things. Do you see? The universe is filled with things that are so diverse as you and me. Yet there is something common that we all seek. Now share, what do you think? What do you think? There is something common that we all seek. We are all different, right? We value different things. But can we also value and seek something common? Let's see. Communication. We seek accountability, right? We want each other to be accountable. We want one another to be accountable. We all seek good emotion. We all seek respect. We all seek knowledge. Trusting one another, so important. We seek prosperity, whatever that might mean to us. We all seek acceptance. We seek prosperity. I love that. We seek peace. We seek recognition. So true. We seek work-life balance. We seek interest and in learning and growing. See how powerful that is? The reason why I'm doing this is so each of us can appreciate. Each of us can appreciate how we value different things, but we are all driven by some core values, core common aspects of our life that we seek. Now, how much importance we place on each of these will depend on what situation we are in. Right? Do you see that? At different stages in life, you probably place different emphasis on each of these. Thank you. Thank you so much for participating. And you value open-minded and accept changes. You value those, and that's common. We want each one of us to be valuing one another. We value freedom. We value understanding and empathy that is common to all of us. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Now, think about what you have shared. If you're taking notes, I see Kahira is actively taking notes, and I'm a big note taker myself, if you're taking notes, remember what you've said, remember what others have shared. When we think of this aspect of mentoring, we think about the whole world. Whether we are a Toastmaster, whether we are in the community, whether we are in the family, whether we are in our professions at our workplaces, whether we are at Gurudwaras, wherever we are thinking of the whole world as an entity, and we are constantly exchanging these feelings and ideas and learning. Then you might say, why do I need a mentor? I'm constantly learning, correct? I'm constantly absorbing, I'm constantly imbibing, I'm constantly giving, I'm constantly engaging. But why then would I need a mentor? What is the purpose? Why do I need to understand what this is? I myself, in my life, as you probably have had different reasons for seeking someone out, especially to either share, to seek advice or guidance, to just have somebody listen to what I'm going through, to perhaps share their own experience to get me excited and inspire me towards a better outcome, or to encourage me to think about what is possible. Think about it. All of you, let's close your eyes for just one moment and think, what is possible? Now, if there is one person in this world who can make you think about what's possible, what you have dreamt for yourself, your own potential, wouldn't you want that person to be on your side? Wouldn't you want him or her to hold your hand and say, I'm here for you? Go ahead, take that leap. And when you open your eyes, you are there. You're envisioning that you are where you envisioned you would be. That's what, my friends, is possible with mentorship. I know growing up, my teachers were my mentors. By default, you and I look up to our teachers, our parents, our grandparents, our uncles and aunts, or even our big brothers and sisters in the family, or even our little brothers and sisters. They teach us a lot. We don't want to acknowledge, but they teach us a lot in our life, right? We all have mentors, whether we sought them actively or not. In the Toastmasters world, mentorship is given high priority. You and I are in this business of continuous learning throughout our lives. As most of you have said, all of these qualities, all of these skills, all of these competencies, all of these values that we hold so close to our hearts, all come into play in our different aspects of our life as we go through our days. Correct? So let's get to the meat of it. And as Pragya explained, there seems to be some confusion sometimes. Is this helpful at all, just to orient you, to think about yourself, what you want for yourself, what you might be seeking, how we orient ourselves to the world, and what you might get out of this relationship, which is a mentor-mentee relationship. But before we plunge into that, there seems to be a little bit of lack of clarity in what it means to be a coach and a mentor. Yeah? And then there is this word that in Toastmasters world, you keep hearing, which is a sponsor. Quickly light up the dashboard or even unmute if you're able to do that. What do you understand when I say coach in Toastmasters world? So let's bring it down to the Toastmasters world. When someone says coach, what comes to mind? I'm looking at the chat. If you can just help me out here. What is your understanding of the word coach in the Toastmasters world?
Hi, Toastmaster Sravanthi. Very
Yes.
good evening.
Good evening.
So, according to me, coach is something wherein you will be asking questions. You will not give any answers to their solution. I mean, you will ask them questions in such a way that they themselves find their answers. So that's called like coaching.
Excellent. In general terms, I agree. That is coaching. In general terms, you would coach. You would encourage someone to do something or coach to a skill. You are allowing them to, I'm coaching someone how best to hold this mug, right? As they hold the mug, how best to hold it so as to not hold it like this and burn your fingers, but to hold it in the ear so you don't burn your fingers. You can coach that particular skill. You can coach me to be a better presenter. But in the Toastmasters world, coach has a very significant meaning. when we talk about our clubs. That's where I was going with that. So when we talk about coach, sponsor, and mentor, there are three different aspects that affect the Toastmasters journey, especially when we look at it in a club perspective, from a club perspective. Okay? So let me clarify that. When you and I become members, where do we join? What do we join? We join. When we talk about a club, let's say our club has a phenomenal club. It has 25 members. Okay? Give me a club name. Who belongs to a particular club? Horizons Toastmasters. Let's say I belong to Horizons Toastmasters. My club has 25 members, correct? So I am a member of this club. Let's say times are tough. We have a challenge. Our club membership falls. And over the years, we find ourselves being under 12 members and needing help. Let's say over 4 years or 5 years or 6 years, COVID happens and things change for our club. Then as club members and as club executive committee members, we can request our districts to assign someone to help our club. We can ask the district to assign us someone to help our club restore back to health. Now that one person, that one Toastmaster, actually a club can have up to 2 coaches, is called a club coach. A club coach comes into the picture when a club needs help. A club coach will get club coach credit when he or she, or together 2 club coaches, walk the club to good health and make it distinguished on the DCP. Is that clear about the club coach? So in doing so, they hold the members' hands, they work with the executive committee, they help create open houses and special events to help the club, and somehow bring it back through these various activities, social, emotional, intellectual, all kinds of support, bring the club back to good health. Good health, if on the DCP it has enough number of members, it is showing that we are earning some education awards, our officers have attended training, and we have submitted our officer lists and our dues in time. Perhaps we have gained a few points and we are elevating the club to achieve distinguished status. Now that is a club coach. Everyone clear after today about club coach? Yes? This is in the Toastmasters world what a club coach means. Now there is another word. There is another word that we hear, sponsor. Well, who is a sponsor of a club? Who is a sponsor of a club? Anyone?
Hello, Toastmaster Sravanthi.
Please, yes.
Yeah, sponsor is one. Hi, sponsor is one who he will pay for the club, as in the treasurer, who will continue to have the members added to the club.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I have a great answer. Go ahead, please.
For a corporate club, it could be the company itself. Company is
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Swapna. And I think we have some answers here. And one of the answers I do like is Shobit. From Shobit, he or she, that person, that sponsor, drives the chartering process. What does chartering process mean? Is to the process which brings a club into existence, right? So let's say Horizons Toastmasters, I just picked it out of nowhere. Horizons Toastmasters, my club, needed to come into existence for me to take membership, correct? So at some point, somebody had envisioned that I'm going to form a club and there can be up to 2 sponsors for a club in the Toastmasters world. So let's say Neha and Prathamesh come together and say, we are going to start a club and we are going to call it Visions Toastmasters. And they start a club. And to start a club, we need at least 20 members. So they begin the chartering process. They put down what we call an application fee. They put in an application to organize a club. That's what Toastmaster Neha and Toastmaster Parmesh do. In doing so, they drive interest. they bring in 20 members, only 3 of who can be reinstated or existing Toastmasters, 17 have to be new. Correct? The idea is to promote the promise of Toastmasters to everyone who could use it, and to increase our leverage to be this number one, first stop shop for communication and leadership in the world. Correct? So they are spreading the goodness of Toastmasters. They want to bring new people together. Why? In doing so, a club. Is that clear in our minds? They are chartering a club. Now there can be up to 2 sponsors for a club. So sponsors drive the chartering process. All good so far? That's all about sponsors. So hopefully Horizon Toastmasters does well and does not need a coach, correct? If it falls into ill health or starts needing help, a coach can come in. Up to 2 coaches can come in to revive that club. So we talked about coaches who come in when the club needs help. We talked about sponsors who actually organize the club. Now we come to, what do we come to? Why we are here today. About mentoring, to talk about mentoring. Now, when we talk about mentoring, and without going into too much detail, may I share my screen, please? To talk about mentoring, so if you talk about mentoring, you can talk about mentoring in terms of a club mentor or 2 mentors for the club, or an individual mentor. Today, our focus is going to be on individual mentorship. What do I mean by that? Let's say Toastmaster Neha is my mentor. I am Toastmaster Kahira's mentor. So the 3 of us are in a mentor-mentee relationship or a mentor-protégé relationship, hoping to learn, endeavoring to learn, right? Dreaming to learn from one another. So I meet with Toastmaster Neha. She is my mentor. I'm her protege. We meet continuously so we can make a productive outcome of our relationship. So that would be a one-on-one mentoring. That would be an individual mentoring. Now, who is a club mentor? That can be confusing. That's why I'm taking my time, and please ask questions. I know we will get into mentoring really soon, but it's important as Toastmasters to not get these confused. As we grow and move in our journeys, it's important to understand these differences. These are foundational. So then, my friends, who is a club mentor? If Toastmaster Neha is my mentor and I'm her protege, this is a one-on-one mentoring relationship. Then what does it mean when I say, or when someone says, I'm a club mentor? I'm a mentor for the club. Anyone? Okay, Padmaja says a club mentor comes into the picture for a new club. He or she, that person, those mentors, mentor entire clubs. Absolutely correct. A club mentor is applicable to newly chartered clubs, says Neha. Absolutely correct. So remember, I said a club can have up to 2 sponsors. So Neha and Prathamesh sponsored the club. They brought the club into existence. Now you're like a brand new baby. Horizons is a brand new baby. Someone needs to hold its hand. Someone needs to curdle it. Someone needs to, cuddle it. Someone needs to take it to the next step. And all of the members who join the club are looking forward to succeeding. They may not know what the Pathways program means. They may not know what it means to be a member of Toastmasters. They may not know what the value of the Pathways program or their leadership experience will be. They may not completely understand how this education program, the Pathways education program, or their journey within Toastmasters can impact the various aspects of their life outside the meeting room. Club leaders, the 7 leaders who have signed up to actually be charter officers for the club, may not completely, fully understand their responsibilities, their roles, and how to implement them. They may run into challenges. They don't know who to reach out to and ask. So up to 2 mentors are assigned to a brand new club to ensure that the club is cared for at least the first 6 months of its existence. I will repeat that. Up to 2 mentors are assigned or can be assigned to a brand new club in the first 6 months, so they can actually serve the club, they can hold the club close to their hearts and minds, and lend their hand when the club needs help, so they can stand on their own feet. All good? So that's the difference. That's the difference between a coach of a club who comes, 2 coaches come in and the club needs help. Sponsors charter the club, they organize the club, they form the club. Mentors hold the club close and support the club for the first 6 months of its existence. And all of these roles, my friends, for those of you who are aspiring to achieve or earn your distinguished Toastmaster titles, all of these can contribute towards your achievement. Right? Excellent. Let me share my screen if I have permissions. I still don't have permissions, looks like. May I be made co-host or given permissions? All right. Now let's come to what mentoring means to each of us. Have you had a mentor in your life? How many of you have had a mentor in your life? Yeah, me too. I have many mentors in my life. If you have not had a mentor in your life, I say right now is the right time to take your pen and write down, I need a mentor. When I was talking to Sandeep and Pragya the other day, they said, we are really, really keen on launching a program in District 126 where we want everyone to understand the value of mentorship. Now, the very act of saying this, the value of mentorship, gets me really excited. If you want to get as excited as I am getting right now, then you needed to have had a mentor and realized how wonderful, how exhilarating, how meaningful, how fulfilling that experience can be. So if you have not had a mentor, or if you have not formally or informally asked for guidance, sought guidance, stayed open to feedback, and realized how beautiful that relationship can be, now is as good a time as any to go seek a mentor. Even if it's only to ask for their listening ears sometimes, even if it's only to sit quietly and say, I'm here for you. Even if it is only to share one little piece of information that can change your perspective on something. Even if it is only for that. You and I need mentors, my friends. And I can share my own example. When I first started out to seek employment in the United States, which was way back 27, 28 years ago, I came to this country with a master's in English literature and a bachelor's in education, and I wanted to teach. Everyone else was talking about this thing called IT that many years ago. And I said, what is it? And they said, no, information technology. It is the wave of the future. That's what it is. It was way back in 1995. I wasn't interested. I couldn't care less about it. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to teach English, but I did not have an ounce of courage to even entertain the idea that someone would hire a non-native speaker of English to teach English in an English-speaking country. So guess what I did? What would you have done? Perhaps something different. Hopefully something different from what I did. I did not even entertain the idea. I just gave up on it and I said, okay, so what else can I do? I gave up on my dream. I completely gave up. I did not even pursue teaching. I did not look for avenues where I could get certified and do something about it. I gave up and I said, okay, let me jump on this IT bandwagon. Luckily for me, I was a good student. I had been a good student all my life. I quickly learned what this whole IT business was all about, got myself a job and moved right on. Now, in that period is when I found someone who said, why don't you why don't you pursue teaching in IT? You see how powerful that is? They said, if you really have a penchant for teaching, if you're so inclined towards teaching and you think you have a natural ability, why don't you look at something where you can teach, even in the IT world? So I said, aha, that's a great idea. You see, all you need is a seedling of a thought sometimes. And he said, here you go. These are called Microsoft certifications. Can become what they call a Microsoft certified trainer. Here is how they achieve a Microsoft certified solution developer. I loved all that stuff, but I had no idea. And that person, Brett, held my hand through all of the certifications. And here I am 27 years later with a full-fledged career in IT. That is that power of a mentor. Now, do you see how I can leverage my passion, my inclination, my preference for teaching in the IT world that would make me feel fulfilled in a foreign country? That would get me a good paycheck, help me establish myself, right? And move forward. Throughout my journey, I've had countless mentors. I have an appetite. I have an appetite for saying everyone is my mentor. Maybe you're not like me, and that is okay, because you might like someone who can quietly listen to you, can quietly hold your hand, maybe one-on-one interactions. I thrive in a group mentorship program. I thrive in exchanging ideas. I'm okay in seeking 20 mentors all at a time because I have the appetite for it. And you know, you may be different from me, or you may be just like me, right? So know yourself and seek this mentorship. And throughout my journey, throughout my professional journey, throughout my community service and involvement journey, throughout my career, I have had many mentors, and I have countless mentors within Toastmasters. The first time, and I'll share one little example before I go into mentoring, the theory of it. This was 3 years into my Toastmasters journey, right around there. I was just about understanding. I definitely did not know what a sponsor, coach, or a mentor meant. Believe me, I was 3-some years into Toastmasters. I did not know what they meant. I did not make any effort to learn about them either. But then I was getting excited. I got to speak in front of people. I got to serve as a club leader. I got to learn from others. I got to engage every Monday evening at my home club. That's all I wanted to do. And then someone nudged me and said, Sravanthi, I think you'll be a great candidate for area director. I said, what, me? Who? I said, yeah, you, for area director. I said, what is that? Because I had no idea what that meant. And that person is still my mentor today. That person said, here is the club leadership handbook. You seem to be already serving as a club leader, but you seem to not have full understanding of what that means. Here is a district leader handbook, and go home, take it home and study it properly and understand what this role is, because you're going to take on an area director role. From that day forward, I had not stopped. Every single time I had a question, and she put me in touch with many other mentors. Now I have plenty of mentors across the world in the Toastmasters world who helped me. But there was a certain demand on my side too, right? To be a good mentee. And over the years, as I had been a good mentee, or as I tried and endeavored to be a good mentee, guess what? I had the most meaningful opportunities to mentor others too. Today, I actively mentor about 40 mentees, actively. Sometimes it is every day, sometimes it's once a week, sometimes it's once a quarter. But you see how beautiful that can be? Some are very close to their DTM, some are just giving their icebreakers, and there is a whole bunch of all of us in between. So those are my stories. I am sure we'll get to some of yours too. I am sure you have those. So let's get to the crux now that I think I have access to sharing my screen. Please let me know when you see it. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you, Kahra. I think you see it. So mentoring is a time-honored method of helping others achieve their goals. How many of us understand this? How many of us think this is an apt explanation or a definition for what mentoring is? You do? Simple, right? It is a relationship, time-honored method of helping others achieve their goals. Mentoring is one of the most generous and rewarding ways a person can contribute to an individual and an organization. What this may be implicitly missing, which I always think is important to emphasize here, is that relationship. I have learned as much from my mentees these past many years, sometimes even more than I have been able to give my mentees. When I say reciprocal, there are some basic tenets that go into making this mentor-mentee relationship a successful one, a productive one that is meaningful to both parties. So the onus is not just on the mentor, although traditionally we are conditioned to think that a mentor is someone who knows more than us, and there is this transfer of information and wisdom and intelligence that happens from the mentor to the mentee. The mentee benefits from it and goes out into the world to conquer it, right? That's typically how we think about mentorship. But I'm here to tell you that this is what the world wants us to believe, and this is what is true too, to an extent. But if we think about this as an organic, as a productive relationship, it is reciprocal. Both parties enjoy this and find meaning in it and grow from it. How many of you, again, at this point, how many of you are aware of the Pathways Mentor Program? Please, could you let me know in the chat, because this is important. And I think it's important for our district, District 126, as well as for each of you, if you're looking at it. How many of you are aware that there is a program called the Pathways Mentor Program? If you're not, you are now. If you're not, you are now. I can even navigate to it later on at the end of our session to show you where to find it. Okay? Each of us has access to this. This actually walks us through understanding what the mentor program is, assesses or helps us prepare to be a mentor, take on a mentoring assignment, maybe as simple as helping Toastmaster Amer through his icebreaker speech and perhaps prepare for a few speeches. That could be our first act of mentorship for a very short term. And then you go into what Toastmasters calls advanced mentoring. That is where not only do you assess your readiness, once you've done that, you assess the mentee's readiness, and more importantly, you set goals. You set goals, what the mentee wants to achieve. You set goals for yourself, what you want to give as a mentor and achieve out of this relationship. And you go into this advanced mentoring project, which is a 6-month project, which is a 6-month relationship that you're establishing with your protege to make sure that he or she is elevated to his or her potential, whatever they set out to reach. Remember, I said they set out some goals, right? Short-term goals, long-term goals, and how you as a mentor can make it possible in working with your protege, in working with your mentee, to have him or her achieve those goals that he or she has set up for himself or herself. Any questions about this? And it is my understanding, and as I'm looking at the chat window, it is my understanding that a lot of you are interested in becoming mentors. Is that correct? Yes? Some of you are probably here to just learn. At some point, I'm really hoping that you leverage the mentor program, Pathways Mentor Program, and you leverage for yourself and those who are depending on you, your talents, your energies, and your engagement, to give something back, to give something meaningful back to a person, to elevate him or her to the next level, to co-create, to create together what is possible. And someone wants to become a mentee, absolutely, find yourself a mentor. Find yourself a mentor. So today, we will focus on the mentor aspect of it, because understanding what it means to be a mentor is very important. It is critical to the success of this relationship. And as I said, the onus, the responsibility is on both sides. So as I go through the mentor responsibilities and focus on those, please help me also as I focus and highlight some of the responsibilities and some of the things that a mentee has to be aware of. I think there is, could someone help me with the background noise? Thank you. Thank you for that. Any questions about the Pathways Mentor Program? And I can navigate at the end of the session. Any questions so far? Okay. Some of you did not know about the Pathways Mentor Program. No worries at all. If you're enrolled in Pathways, you absolutely could. Do you see? I almost finished that, and this was a few years ago, as you can see. I finished that, and it shows you your progress. At the end of 6 months, you can actually complete this program and submit it for credit. It is not one of those awards that shows up on the DCP, but you will get an educational award credit. Okay, all right. Let's move on. And these are some of the aspects that the Pathways Mentor Program helps us understand. And I would urge you to read it bottom up. So let's go all the way to the bottom. First and foremost, there is desire. I want to. I wish to. That is a desire. Deep down, if you're saying, I only want Pathways Mentorship Program credit, I only want to, see what it's all about, that's not desire. Desire is a deep feeling that says, yes, I want to do this. Some of you may or may not be feeling it right now, but hopefully at the end of the session, you might say, yes, I at least want to try it, right? At least at the end of the program, you might say, I want to try this because I'm excited about it. I want to try this because there is so much potential in it. I want to try it because I believe it is meaningful. I want to try it so I can learn. I want to try it so I can give back. Whatever your reason for I want to is, I hope that you at least try. So that desire has to be deep, because this is a commitment, my friends. It is not a checkbox activity. None of anything we do should ever be a checkbox activity. I know checkboxes are all around us, but this definitely is not one of those. So desire, we all understand what desire means, right? That deep emotion that says, I want to, I really want to. I want you to feel that. Whether you want to do it, try it, explore it, discover it, benefit from it, add to it, whatever it is, the I want to is important. And make sure that you help yourself understand why you are doing it. The what will unfurl, the what will take care of itself. The why will always stay with you. So please understand why you are getting into this relationship. So you are clear, right? As a mentor and a mentee. I'll speak to both, by the way, but I'll focus on the mentor part. Okay? Self-awareness. And remember, we went through this exercise for an icebreaker, and I said we all have strengths. I challenge you, do each of you know what you bring to the table? Because I promise you, you each have those strengths, but do you know what they are? Have you taken the time to reflect? Because the world will have us believe that we will go far if we focus on what we want to improve or what we need to improve. Yes? How many of us have been told that you work on this, you'll be the best? Neha, have you been told that?
Yes.
Has someone told you, what have they told you that you need to work on?
To strengthen my strength. So recently I came across one mentor, and I have one mentor in Toastmaster who I'm grateful for each of my achievement. And it's Toastmaster Gagan. I'm proud to say his name in this meeting. And he said, you have the potential. Just focus on your strength and strengthen your strength to be the best. So I think these are the golden words, which gives me the encouragement to always like push my boundaries and
Brilliant.
attempt more.
Love it. Love it that Gagan helped you focus on your strengths. The world has us think about our opportunities all the time. I want you to flip that thinking. Opportunities, absolutely. Stay aware of them, work on them each day, but leverage your strengths. You and I will go far farther, far faster if we leverage our strengths. If we leverage our strengths, my strength is positivity. I put smiling in front of my name. You cannot wipe that out of my face. I have trouble wiping it out, ever. My number one strength out of the 34 strengths in Strengths Finder is positivity. I would be no matter what. Right? I take it to the nth degree to help myself and help others. I will be your last person standing. Come talk to me. I always tend to see the brighter side. Not that I'm unreal, but it is just that I find ways to make things happen. Right? We'll do it. It's not better than other strengths. It is just that I know that is my strength. I have belief. I have belief that we will succeed. I just like Gagan, I'm sure, has belief that he succeeds. He does a lot of community work. I see Gagan's Facebook post too. And Gagan has elevated his mentee. So just like that, we can all form this cohort that is empowered, that elevates itself. So self-awareness is important. Understanding who you are, what gets you excited, what gets you out of bed is important. What does not get you excited? What drains you is important. What are these skills and competencies that you bring to the table that can help your protege is important. What is this outlook of life that your own background, where you and I came from? What hopes, dreams, and fears do we entertain? What do we want for our future, right? What hopes do we have for our future? What dreams do we have for our future? Who have helped us? Who are all the people who have helped us? What are all the biases that we entertain? We all entertain biases in our minds, in our hearts. These unconscious biases, what are those? We need to be self-aware. Unless we are self-aware and transparent and knowing about ourselves, we cannot possibly help someone else. We would be checking boxes. It's exactly what we don't want to do. So we have to be authentic. That's where I'm going with this. You can bring your whole self into the picture and stay authentic. Okay? Mutual respect and understanding, non-negotiable. Whether you like it or not, right? Adhere to our core values. Integrity, respect, service, excellence, and mutual respect and understanding of one another as humans, whatever the relationship, is critical. This is a non-negotiable entity. Okay? Please respect. Respect the person first, respect the process next. You may disagree. I always go back to this. My fallback is, Aristotle, I think, said this. An intelligent mind is one that can entertain an idea without agreeing with it. Be that intelligent mind. Be that intelligent mind that can entertain the idea, that can give it its full attention. You don't have to agree with it. You can debate. You can come to a different conclusion. But entertain the idea. Be open to it. Be open to listening. Be open to empowering yourself and others to bring your whole self to work, whatever that work is in front of you. Okay? All right. This big chunk, I know you're reading it. Starts with listening, ends with shared value. And everything in between is important. A lot of times, traditionally, when we think of mentor-mentee, and as I alluded to a few minutes ago, we think a mentor is this transference of information and inspiration from the mentor to the mentee. It doesn't start there, it won't end there, right? A lot of times we are listening. A lot of times we are listening to understand, not necessarily to respond. So please listen to understand. Understand their dreams, understand their hopes, understand their expectations, understand their goals. Similarly, you can share your own with your mentee. Remember, it is reciprocal. Sometimes we only hear. My friend, Brother Umar says, sometimes we hear, but we don't listen, right? We hear in passing, we listen with intention. So listen. And COVID has taught us many things about listening. We need that connection. We need to be there for one another. So humanity first. Respect each other and listen to each other as humans first. Okay? Set the right expectations. This is very important. The expectations could be, how will we work on our goals? How often we will meet? Practical considerations. A lot of times I hear, and I myself experience that, I am not immune to it. Sometimes I cannot make my meetings. Sometimes I cannot keep my commitments. Life happens when we make grand plans, correct? Life happens for all of us. But what is not okay? What is immune? Show your vulnerability. I'm so to me today, right? As soon as you know it, please communicate. Apologize. Say sorry, right? No one is on a higher plane. We are all on the same plane here. Show vulnerability. Be open and transparent in your communication. Set the right expectations. Make time. If time and energy are what you are giving to this, give it fully. Give it fully and wholeheartedly. Setting expectations becomes very important because we have a lot of moving parts in our lives. We have our work, we have family, we have faith, we have friends, we have all of these to attend to, and we have Toastmasters we care deeply about, right? So please make time for it. If you carve out time and you are staying vulnerable and you're staying authentic, people will understand. You and I can be forgiven for being human, but we cannot be forgiven for not communicating clearly, even though we know what it is that we need to communicate. Correct? We will be forgiven for being human. So be human, be vulnerable, it's okay. You're not putting yourself, or no one's putting yourself on a higher pedestal because you're a mentor and you have to be a certain way. No, you have to be human, but you can be awesome. Right? Just be that, just be that. Expectations are different than goals, right? Your expectation of someone is very different from the goal someone has set. Umar is always keeping me straight here, right? What you expect someone to achieve, you expect someone to, we meet at 5 p.m. is an expectation. I want to give my icebreaker by September 30th is a goal. So as we work towards the goal, right, we need to meet some expectations so we can both make progress towards that goal. One of the other things is fulfill your commitments. And both of those should be aligned. Very right. Fulfilling our commitments. Say what you said you would do. On both sides, it's important. Recognizing needs, whether it's an emotional need, a social need, an intellectual need, sometimes even a spiritual need. Understand the need. And what's the best way to understand a need? What's the best way to understand a need? I think Rosarika got it. Ask. Simple. Ask. Right? I could read your lips. Ask. A lot of times we make assumptions. Oh, he didn't have it on this paper, or she didn't tell me that. Ask. Please ask. And ask often. Don't ask on September 1st and forget about it till January 30th. Please ask often. If you're a mentor, ask. If you're a mentee, ask. Right? Read in between the lines. We're all human. We show emotion. Understand, read that emotion and ask. Are you feeling all right? Am I helping you with your goals? Do you feel like you're making progress? Check often. Check in often and check often. Value differences. We are all different people. We could not be more different. But as we saw, we have some common threads that unite us. We have some common values we all drive towards. So set those right expectations, understand that they're very different from the goals, understand that they're very different from the values that drive us. Be open to listening, be open to asking, be open to understanding, be open and absolutely steadfast on valuing these differences. Show appreciation. Appreciation and recognition are fantastic motivators. I will say that again, and I can say that all day long. Appreciation, recognition are great, fantastic motivators. How often do we appreciate? Do you? Do you actually vocalize what you're feeling? Or do you assume that, yeah, he's my mentor. Yeah, he's good. Right? I appreciated when Neha said, I want to take Gagan's name here. There is something called sponsorship. Mentors do that for mentees. In this case, mentee did that for her mentor. Don't just support, sponsor, take their name when you're outside. That's when the real difference happens. And also important is tell them in person how much you appreciate them. The mentor to the mentee to the mentor. And my friend Susan, a few weeks ago, she was on the phone and she said, Sravanthi, I thought you were so extra on this whole appreciation business. At the beginning, it used to irritate me. It was like, she overdoes this. She said, I was so extra. Oh, sorry. I was so extra. And then you know what she said? But now I know why. But now I love it. Because when she and I are very different people, right? So she thought I was totally overboard, so extra, so annoying. Maybe she didn't say that, but she probably thought I was so extra. And she said it. But as she got more used to it, as she saw the power of it, as she saw the motivation that people derive from it, she said, I know how you do it. I know why you do it. Right? So that is important. Yeah. Correct privately. Absolutely. And we'll come to that too. Stay flexible. Routine can change. Your commitment doesn't have to. What you came in looking for, what you came in willing to give, your intention, the inspiration with which you came in does not have to change. Your routine will change. Maybe your goals will change too. Maybe your expectations of one another will change. And that's why it's important to check in often, right? And we should be flexible. We are human. Our needs are changing every day. So will our goals, so will our expectations. If my family needs me more, then I cannot meet weekly, right? If I'm working towards a professional certification, I cannot talk to someone daily. I cannot be on WhatsApp all the time. It distracts me. So what do? You let the person know right away. This is what's on my plate. This is how often I can meet. These are the options. Can you help me with picking one or two options that work for you also? It's always a partnership. Please think about it as a partnership. Because it is. So stay flexible. Oh, I made time. Being transparent is important, right? I made time Wednesday, she never showed up. There is no point. It is a fruitless accusation, right? There is no positive outcome to it. So stay flexible. Feel empowered. Feel empowered to do something you set out to do. Feel empowered to give feedback. Feel empowered to receive feedback. Feel empowered to think differently. Feel empowered to think creatively. Right? Today, I'm working with a mentee who is working towards his Distinguished Toastmaster Award, right? He's trying really hard to earn it. He had a few ideas to put together a youth leadership program. He had a few ideas to help another club with speechcraft. Neither succeeded. He was really disappointed. Then all I said was, no worries, COVID has taken a toll on everyone. So, if your ideas didn't come to fruition, it's okay. Let's talk more. And in talking so, we thought of creative ideas how he could use speechcraft to help another club that he was coaching. Do you see how that can work in attracting new members? So he said, I can get DTM credit in doing speechcraft. And if I work with club executive committee to put together the speechcraft program, I can even help members come to this club that I'm coaching because that club can sponsor the speechcraft program. You see how just a little bit of listening, a little bit of partnership, a little bit of creativity can lead to a new result. And it was not my idea, right? It was his idea. But all he needed was a little bit of brainstorming at that point. So be willing to work, whether you're a mentee or a mentor, be willing to work together. Okay, and share value, the value that you're seeking, the value that you're deriving, the value that you're seeing, and the value that you're promoting outside. Let your mentor know. And if your mentor has learned, and you as a mentor, you've learned from your mentee, let the mentee know what value he or she is helping. me gain. Okay. And before we move up and finish this, any questions so far? Any questions so far? No?
I have one question. Hello, Sravanthi.
Rosarika, please.
Yeah. So I might sound silly, but I would like to clarify my doubt here.
Sure.
So if in case in the division, we do not see any new clubs formation happening, then in that situation, how can we exercise this mentor program?
Let me clarify if I'm hearing it right. We are talking about individual mentorship here, not club mentorship.
Okay.
We are talking about individual mentors. You mentoring me, I mentoring Kahira. We are talking about individual mentorship.
Then my question.
That's why I left the club mentorship. So my focus is on individual mentorship.
Okay, no worries.
Is everyone understanding it like that? Because my focus was on individual mentorship, not on club mentorship. Club mentorship was only to clarify. So when sorry, let me go back here. So we talked about club coach, just so everyone's on the same page. I know we are an hour and a half into this, but I want to go back and clarify for everyone. Club coach, a club can have up to 2 coaches. Coaches come into the picture when a club needs help. Are we good there?
Yes.
Everyone, once and for all. Yes? Excellent. A club can have up to 2 sponsors. Sponsors are the one who drive the chartering process, who help organize and form the club. Good there?
Yes.
Excellent. When we come to the mentor, we talk about mentors in 2 ways. One is the club mentor. A club can have up to 2 assigned mentors officially. And the mentor names actually go on the application to form the club. The sponsors actually write those names out. Right? So a club can have up to 2 assigned mentors. The club coach, club sponsor, and club mentor are credit-worthy towards your DTM.
Okay.
We are focused on the individual mentorship.
Okay,
so all of this talk
this is where
was
I
about... Go ahead.
This is where I got confused, DTM Sravanthi, between the club mentor and the individual mentor. So individual mentor is nowhere counted for the DTM role?
Individual mentorship is not counted towards the DTM. That is correct.
Okay.
Individual mentorship is, how do I say, to elevate the power of humanity in giving back to one another in beautiful and unimaginable ways. Yes.
Yeah,
Individual mentorship is a beautiful thing that we are today exploring, so we can give back to each other by valuing our individual selves, by bringing our authentic selves to play, and to give back and learn from one another. That's the focus of today's session.
Okay.
And so all of this, the mentor program is also, again, for individual mentorship, not club mentorship. Although I will say this, hopefully this won't cause confusion. A lot of the aspects that we talked about do play a huge part, because even if you're helping the club as a club mentor, you need to take all of these into consideration, don't you? You need to have the desire, you need to have self-awareness, you need to have your readiness and commitment. So wherever we go as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Operationally, we are either a club sponsor, a mentor, or a coach, or a project manager, or a team lead, or somewhere else. We wear different hats, but we are still the same people.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about the competencies, when we are talking about how to build the fabric of an extraordinary mentor or an extraordinary mentee, all of these still hold true, don't they?
Absolutely.
I hope I'm clear. Is it coming through? Because when I go as a mentor, I go as Sravanthi. I don't go as club mentor, club sponsor. Those are just roles that I fulfill, but I go as me. When Rosarika goes and serves as a club leader, she goes as she. By that token, I probably will be wearing 20 more hats later today, but I am still me. You see, and all of this that we are talking about will come into play every one of those 20 times throughout this day. Right? That's what I'm saying. So Monday, when I go back to work, all of this will come into play. Where I lead a team of 11 people and we are doing fantastic things at work, or I sit on a board, or you take yourself and you are, STC, right? Speakers, trainers, coaches, Toastmaster, you go and you coach someone, or you train someone, or you're writing a book. All of this will come into play when you partner with someone. Yeah? Okay. The world's a stage and we are all playing different roles, right? Later today, that's I hope that came through clearly. I hope that came through clearly. So let's get our terminology, our vocabulary right. Club sponsor, club mentor, club coach, club sponsor, club mentor, club coach. When we are talking about mentoring, this is individual mentoring. I hold Umar's hand. Umar holds someone else's hand, right? You hold my hand. This is individual mentorship. And by the way, there is such a thing as reverse mentoring, right? I might reach out to one of you to reverse mentor me. If you're thinking of me as, oh, Sravanthi would be a great mentor, I could reverse mentor. So even without calling it reverse mentoring, if we look at the mentor-mentee relationship as a mutually reciprocal one, it's mutually beneficial. But reverse mentoring actually puts a little more focus on, okay, Neha, I'm going to learn from you. Though you think I could be your mentor, I am going to learn from you. You tell me. So this gives me a fresh new perspective about Neha's world, what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know, right, Rosarika? So that gives us a new perspective towards learning. Right? I do that too. I explore that too. Another aspect of exploration could be group mentoring. Right? There is one mentor and a whole cohort of mentees, and we learn from one another. So it is powerful. I'm experimenting with that as well. Because time is of the essence. I wasn't able to make time. I needed to get creative. At work, I meet with 5 of my mentees. We call ourselves team motivation. There's a group chat. Every day we light up the chat a little bit, encourage one another, help one another. Right? They're all going to achieve at least one level by the end of September, which is fantastic, right? We keep each other motivated. I like your question too. You can have a tormentor too. There you go. Thank you, Umar. Any other questions? I hope that clarified. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear in how I explained what we were going into. Any other questions? And Sandeep, you came on camera for just a little bit. Is it in line with what you're hoping I would deliver?
Yes, Sravanthi, we are going good. Thank you for that.
Excellent. All right, let's quickly go through this. And I do have another piece that I want to share with you before we go into Q&A. And if some of you have to leave, please let me know and ask your questions and I can address them before you leave, but don't leave without getting your questions answered or without letting me know what you're thinking about today's session or how you can take this forward. Okay. And okay. Let's go through this, and Umar, I will answer your question in just a little moment. So mentor-mentee, I put them on the same plane, correct? Both have responsibility towards this relationship. I put empathy first, because without empathy, I don't think we can move forward. Empathy promotes understanding. Empathy relies on our being sensitive to other people's needs. Empathy comes into play every single time. Because we need to understand, right? Only then we can engage with people and meet them where they are. So please keep empathy top of mind. Keep all activity empathy informed. That means every one of your activities, you're first thinking, how would Neha feel? What would she like to hear? Not that you're pandering to what she would like to hear, but you're thinking about her. You're keeping her the center of your activity. You see, that's what it is. Availability, stay available, practical consideration. We all have a bunch of stuff to do, right? If you really think you cannot be available, don't sign up. Wait for the right time. Don't just sign up, because that takes away from your personal brand and from the beauty that this relationship can offer. Not worth pursuing if you cannot stay available, if you cannot make time. Some of us bite off more than we can chew, and I admit. But you see, for the things we love, we make time. You love it that much, you have that deep desire right here, you will make time. Find that. Find your why. Find your why and you will make time. And most times it's not time we manage energy. Stay positive. Know why you committed. That energy will take you through. It will make time come on your clock somehow. Okay? Your own goals and strengths. Important. And I would say the same for the mentee too. Openness to reassess. This is what I meant when I said continually reassess on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. When in doubt, what do? When in doubt, ask. That's it. When in doubt, open your mouth and ask. Am I doing well? Am I doing okay so far? We are an hour and 40. You see, I probably asked a few times. Ask. I'm not going to assume I'm doing a perfect job here, but I want to seek understanding. If I'm getting head nods, if I'm getting something in the chat, I'm refreshing. Every time I'm reassessing. Do the same thing with whatever it is that you're doing. Please continually learn, recognize the importance of motivation, and most importantly, understand the difference between judgment and feedback. Judgment is an opinion. It is always colored. Feedback is constructive. It is helpful. It is productive. Sravanthi, this is not helpful. I don't think this session was useful. That's a judgment. Feedback is, I believe if you had clarified the mentorship, how you were going to focus on perhaps individual mentorship as opposed to club mentorship. Remember Rosarika's question, if someone gave me that kind of feedback, that would be helpful. You see, maybe I didn't clarify. And that's why Rosarika asked, I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm putting myself on the spot here, right? I could have not been clear. So if someone gave me feedback that I could have done things differently, now that is helpful for me to keep in mind the next time I come in front of you. Correct? This wasn't very useful. I don't know what I got out of it. Is so fuzzy, not helpful. If I'm hearing from 29 of you that this was awesome and 2 people say, it wasn't helpful, I don't know what to do with your feedback. I would call it judgment, right? At least in my mind. So just differentiate between the two. When you are talking to your mentees or when you are giving feedback to your mentor, please feel free. Give feedback to your mentor. Don't feel like you cannot. And one thing that I have learned about feedback, although we can assume that feedback is always welcome, ask. May I offer you a piece of suggestion? May I is powerful. You think people will say no? Right? But you're not assuming. That's very powerful. It's subtle, but it's powerful. You're not tricking them into it, but you're sincerely asking for permission. Don't dish out feedback. Don't dish out anything just because. Even in a mentor-mentee relationship, that is where respect comes in. You know, something's been bothering me. May I share? Honest, right? If you're a mentee and you say, Sravanthi, it's been on my mind, and I think I would feel better if I shared it. May I share something with you? And do you think I'm going to say, no, not today. No, don't share. Do you think I'm going to say that to you? No. I say, absolutely. I'm so glad you asked. You see the way you say it? Please ask. You know, although we can always assume that feedback is welcome, sometimes it can be sensitive, right? Ask. Same thing, mentor or mentee. Open feedback, honest relationship, honesty. Okay, leading and following. For mentors especially, for those of us who come from cultures where age and title and experience are revered, it is hard to know when to lead and when to follow. Mentors always assume they are leading. Mentors must realize that they must follow sometimes. A couple of my mentees, they do their own work. I am just in the background. I say, let me know when you need help, because they are driven. They are driven. They will know how to pursue their goals. They will set expectations. And that's a natural leader in them. Appreciate that. And you step back and you follow. And when you recognize that they need a direction, when you recognize they need support, you lead. And there is a subtle cultural difference depending on where you are in the world. Sometimes it's assumed, sometimes it's not. But when in doubt, take a step back, ask yourself, ask the other person. Simple. We put a lot of complication into relationships just because we operate by assumptions. Let's not do that. There is no need to. Right? If you want to be productive and productive really fast, ask. Simply ask. Simply ask for permission, ask for forgiveness, say please, say sorry, get feedback continuously. All right, last but not least, I think we've harped on it enough, putting protege first. Always put your mentee first. You're in this for a reason, right? You're making a commitment for a reason. So please keep them center of all of your activity. Understand that you made a commitment to help this person deliver on his or her goals. So co-create that together. Together, help her imagine the possible. What is possible? And some of our very driven mentees need a little bit of nudge. You give them more, they'll keep taking more. They're very hungry, right? They're very, very hungry. So I know when to push someone. I know when to reel back. Know that as a mentor, right? And progress. I want to also make a point that recognize progress, recognize effort. We are also culturally, we recognize achievement. Please remember to recognize effort. Please remember to recognize, even if it's a little progress, that's important. We are a culture of achievement. We are a culture of very strict goals and a lot of competition, right? Not healthy always. I'm not saying don't recognize achievement, but don't make that your only priority. Recognize effort, recognize progress, recognize small incremental improvements. That's what's important. That's what's motivating. Yeah, sure, I'll give you accolades when you achieve your DTM. Really? No. There are a million things that happen between an icebreaker and a DTM. Recognize all of those million little things. And you do the same. Mentees, you do the same for your mentors. If your mentor says something nice, say, oh, I really appreciate that. That made my day. Send them a bunch of emojis, be done, right? That's what I do. Easy. Okay. I do want to stop here for question and answers. I welcome anything you want to share, although I do have a couple more slides. I do want to stop here. Hopefully, I've given you a good understanding of what the relationship means outside of Toastmasters, the differences between sponsor, coach, and mentor as it comes to Toastmasters, the difference between a mentor for a club and an individual mentor, and some of these guiding principles or aspects of mentorship for the mentor and the mentee. With that, I will stop here, or I can actually leave this on here and entertain any questions. I'll leave this on here for a reason, so we can talk about it. And I know Sandeep has a very important goal with this whole session today. He wants to build a pool of mentors. So if you thought I would leave you without an action item for this, think again, right? He wants to build a pool of mentors. Now, from what you understood from today's session, Neha, I see your hand is up. Give me 1 second, my dear. I see that you're here for a reason. How many of you feel comfortable embarking on this journey of being a mentor? How many of you? Not a commitment. I'm just asking for interest. And Sandeep did not ask me to do this. If you can put in the chat, just give me an emoji. This is not, he's not going to record what you're saying and hold you up to it. None of it. This is an honest conversation. I know it can be uncomfortable. I know you might feel like it's a lot of pressure. I'm here to tell you that it is a beautiful thing to attempt. It is a beautiful thing to attempt, right? It is a wonderful opportunity for you to grow along with your mentee. It is a fantastic professional, emotional, personal, social growth opportunity for you and me to take ourselves and our own understanding of ourselves to the next level, to create something that we thought impossible together, because we have tons of support. And if nothing, you have a beautiful relationship for life with someone. You have a ton of learning to reflect, right? Okay, I at least have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, for those of you who did not give me a thumbs up, you can always counter me for putting you on the spot. For those of you who did not give me a thumbs up, ask me a question. Ask at least one question that I can answer. Thank you. Thank you to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you. You're already doing it. I know many of you are already mentors, correct? Many of you are already mentors, which is fantastic. Okay. So, any questions for me, please? Oh, really?
Hi, Sravanthi.
I know, I see. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, one question is, if the mentor himself or herself is having self-doubt, then can they be the mentor to a protege? Can they have a mentee?
Absolutely. Sabiha, is that you?
Yes.
Absolutely. So here, great question. Great question. If they themselves have self-doubt, is it self-doubt in their capability? And remember,
In themselves.
in
That they
themselves and
can
their
do.
ability to be a good mentor.
Yeah.
At that point, I would assume, right? I would assume, and this is an assumption, I'm putting it out there. If I have self-doubt and I'm already in a mentoring relationship, let's say I'm mentoring Neha. Yeah, I'm going to pick on you, Neha, because I see you. If I'm mentoring Neha and I am, for some reason, in self-doubt, and I know self-doubt is very broad here. Maybe I'm doubting my own competence to understand your situation or help you with a certain goal, or I'm doubting my own availability, practical consideration. Self-doubt could come for any number of reasons, right? Or maybe your expectations of me are different from my expectations of what I should deliver in the relationship. Self-doubt could stem from a number of different areas, correct? Am I reading you right?
Yes, yes.
In either case, if I am in doubt, and if you are a mentor and you are experiencing any doubt for any reason, I expect that you will be the first one to bring it into the open and step back. Let me repeat that. If you are a mentor, be that big person. Come into the open, be sincere and say, I'm experiencing some challenge in this relationship. I think I need to step back. Let me find you another mentor. I have a really good friend, Umar. He's a fantastic mentor. Let me see if he has the bandwidth to support you. You see how it does two things. Number one, it does not let your mentee down. Number two, it does not take away from your brand. You're being human, you're being vulnerable, you're being sincere, and most of all, remember, you're being committed. You're not leaving your mentee and saying, you're not my problem now, right? You're saying, let me find you someone. That is what you would do for your own family member, wouldn't you? That's what you would expect someone else to do for you, wouldn't you? So if you're asking that as a mentee, you are well within your rights to think that they're having self-doubt. I don't know if they can support me. And again, we are accustomed to thinking of our mentors as all-knowing, all-being. let's change that a little bit. A mentor is someone of a facilitator. I don't know everything, but believe me, I'm on your side. That's what it is all about. I am your facilitator. If you think I'm not your right person, and a lot of times, let's say I'm your mentor at work, and you're saying, Sravanthi is not a technologist, she's in management. I don't know if she is, she doesn't think she has self-doubt, but I doubt her ability to support me. But guess what? You tell me, Sravanthi, I'm trying to learn Amazon Web Services, and I'm not sure how to get there. And you are in management, but this is my goal. Now, if you are sincere in letting me know that you are trying to learn Amazon Web Services, and you already know that I'm in management and I may not have exposure, guess what? By that honest conversation, you have let me know you're trying to get an Amazon Web Services expert. That's where I come in. I don't have to know Amazon Web Services to be your mentor. Does it sound right? That's what a mentor is. He or she will give you a reason to get out of bed. He or she may not always know how to help you make coffee, but he or she will get you out of bed. So a mentorship is to mindset, a mindset of continuous learning, a mindset of achievement, a mindset of commitment and support and facilitation and empowerment. That is a mentorship mindset on both sides, on the mentor and the mentee. I may not know how to make coffee or your favorite breakfast, but I can find someone who will help you do that. But I will give you a reason to get out of bed every day. Does it make sense? Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. I hope I answered your question and a few more. I am seeing some things in the chat. I'm trying to answer those as well. And I know, Neha, you had a question. And Umar, you have a question to my friend. Neha, please.
Yeah. So, GTM Sravanthi, I've known some Toastmasters who have 10 plus mentees. And today I got to know you have 30 mentees. So if you have more number of mentees, it could be like you have opted or you see you can give it back. How to do justice as mentor to all these mentees when you have like a wider group to support?
Absolutely.
Do you see any challenge with this?
Did I tell you what my top strength was? I did, right? Okay. Yes. So I have an extra large appetite for some things. And I know not everyone's like that. But here is how I manage that. Who is to say what our success criteria are? Right? So when I take on a mentee, I ask, what are your needs? What do you expect from me? How often do you want to meet? Is WhatsApp okay? Or do you want to meet on Zoom every month? Do you need help? If yes, how often would you need help? So I ask. A lot of times, our schedule and my support of my mentees depends on what the mentee wants, not what I expect. Because I have no business expecting except that they show up, come prepared, and stay committed. Show up, come prepared, stay committed. Those are my only expectations. Everything else, I let the mentee drive. A lot of my relationships are like that. Sometimes we don't meet at all for a month or two. And then suddenly someone comes up and they have a critical dilemma that they need answered or need brainstormed. That's what we do. In the middle of the night, I'm on the phone, we are brainstorming for an hour and a half. Right? That's how I support some district leaders. Because that's all they need from me. Someone who is working on their icebreaker might need more support at the beginning, but less support towards the end. Someone who is trying to, let's say, win a speech contest may need more support during contest season and not otherwise. Someone who is trying to sponsor a club might need my support differently. They're all my mentees, but they're at different states in life, stages of their journey, and they need different things from me, right? So that's how I balance. And I would say I don't balance, I harmonize. Balance is always in tension, right? It's like a seesaw. I try not to balance, I try to harmonize. They're like pieces of a puzzle for me. And I will say burnout is real for a lot of us, especially after coming out of COVID or going through the situation. Still, burnout is real. That's why I always start with self-awareness. Who are you? How much can you give? What do you know about yourself? That is where it all starts, desire and self-awareness. If you only focus on those two things this entire weekend, I think you will be golden coming out of it on Monday. Do you have the desire to do something? And are you 100% sure who you are, what you stand for, and what you bring to the table? If you can answer these questions for yourself, spend time. It takes time to do this correctly. Spend time and be honest with yourselves. We are not always honest. I know I wasn't, right? We are not always honest with ourselves. And that hurts. That hurts us and everyone else around us. Did I answer your question, Neha? All right.
Yes, thank you.
Umar knows I'm hungry. Always stay hungry. Okay. I need to assign a mentor, and I can. Excellent. I hear you. Whoever private messaged me, a couple of you private messaged me. I will make sure Sandeep and Pragya know about it, that you are looking to become a good mentor, and you can become a good mentor. Please study. And one of the things that I constantly reiterate is self-study. You only get out what you put in. And I just want to ask, not to put anyone on the spot. Rosarika, I think you have a question. Give me 1 second. How many of you spend some time studying every day? And let's talk about Toastmasters. How many of you read a couple of articles? How many of you read the Club Leadership Handbook? How many of you actually go back to some of the projects you have completed in your paths and reread them? How many of you know what the last question in every project is? What is the last question in every project?
How it helps you outside the Toastmasters.
Fantastic. If that's the only question you remember from every project, you're good to go. Because the real power of Toastmasters, my friends, is outside the meeting room, not in the meeting room. You're not here to impress anyone. These are life skills. These are transferable skills. These are skills for life. So go out, do good. Do good, be awesome. That's what this is all about. You and I can volunteer. I volunteer for 20 different organizations, and everybody says, how do you find time? I said, if you have the desire, you will find time, right? How can a mentor remove biases from a protege? Okay, I do want to go back to answer Umar's question about contests.
Mentor and mentee are contesting. Yes, mentor and
mentee can compete in a contest. Oh, sorry. Mentor and mentee can compete in a contest. Let me stop sharing for a second. This is distracting. Mentor and mentee can compete in a contest. Absolutely. Why not? Correct? And this is another one of those.
I was talking about the dilemma because there is a conflict also. You are in the international contest, yourself and your mentee is also there.
Yourself and your mentee, I think this is another one of those barriers that we set for ourselves. If you're not comfortable, don't do it. Assess it at an individual level. Assess it at an individual level. And if you feel that your mentee would be uncomfortable or would pull out because you are competing, then I don't have an answer for it. It's between you and your mentee, right? As a mentor, if you're reading your mentee's mind and if you're helping him or her get to the next level and you want that mentee to succeed without feeling threatened because you're also on the same stage with her or him, then it's a decision that you have to make. But if you step away from it, if you have encouraged your mentee to be open to learning, not necessarily winning, right? Compete to learn, although winning is our ultimate goal. If you're both on the same stage and making it a healthy competition, more power to you. If you and your mentee are on the same page, right? So from a Toastmasters perspective, you and your mentee can be on the same stage and compete. But from an individual perspective, if you think that your mentee will shy away or not be her best or his best or feel less empowered to achieve on that stage alongside you, then I say it's a decision that you have to make. It is a tough one. It is a tough one, but it is a decision that you have to make. Does that help?
Yes, it helps.
Thank you. All right, Rosarika, you had another question?
I don't know if I have missed this in your earlier the explanation that you shared. Is there some basic or necessity criteria to become a mentor?
So right now, there are no basics or criteria, although the mentorship program, sure. Pragya will be posting a link for feedback. Thank you. And then I can get back with you, Rosarika.
Yeah, sure.
And I think, yeah, the requirement from Toastmasters,
because the reason why I am asking, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm asking this is sometimes mentee might, expect some credibility. Who is the mentor? And, so that's why I'm coming to this question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I hear that. And that's important, right? That's important. I think Toastmasters, the mentor program will open for you after 2-level completions, right? It will be available for you. And for the mentee to think that you should have some credibility in terms of the education program and your own achievement is not unreasonable. It's definitely not unreasonable. So I would say, before you sign up to be a mentor, if you're a new club and all of you are in the same boat, right, and your mentees are new and you are new, perhaps you could be that mentee without having a lot under your belt. So I know you belong to a brand new club, and I know many are in the same boat as you, but you may have diverse experience and credibility from other areas of your life. Okay. Maybe not necessarily from Pathways Achievement. I know where you're going with the question because I know your club, right? So I can speak to this a little more. You're all, let's say you, Kahira, and another 17 or 20 of you are in the same boat. Some, maybe a couple of you, handful of you are seasoned Toastmasters. But if you and Kahira, for example, want to be mentor-mentee or even peer mentees, whatever, peer mentorship, if you enter that relationship, you can help one another in different ways. You can bring your outside life experience to bear on the mentorship relationship, right? And Kahira can do the same. If you are in a mentor position for Kahira, who is your protege, it can still work. To answer your question about credibility and about having some achievement under your belt, I think it is reasonable for a mentee who has different goals. Again, go back to goals. If Kahira's goals are to only complete 1 or 2 levels and serve in her role as a club officer to make this new club achieve distinguished or better at the end of next year, then you can definitely help her. You see what I mean? But here you are, if you are, let's say if I have to mentor Umar. No, Umar is already there. He served as a club leader many times. He served as an area director. He has a few paths under his belt. Now he is looking for someone who can challenge him, who can give him a little more. He's extra hungry. He's like me, so he would need someone even better than me to mentor him. Correct? So it depends on what his goals are. So for him to say, Didi, you are doing this or that, and you can or cannot mentor me, and looking for something in me is perfectly reasonable because they have to align with his goals. What I can offer has to align with his goals. Or he might say, maybe you do or don't, but I respect and revere the experience from outside Toastmasters that you bring, and I still want you to be my mentor. Absolutely, I can mentor him. Do you see how that can work? So that honest reflection on what your mentee seeks from you or what you can give and seek as a mentor is important. Meld the two, have a conversation. Make sure you write them down and say, does it make sense? Right? At some level, I can assure you, the mentor-mentee relationship makes sense to everyone. But when it comes to goals that become a little more rigorous, that become a little more challenging, right, in and outside of Toastmasters, then you might look for multiple mentors. There is nothing stopping us from looking for multiple mentors. And I offer it freely to those who I mentor and who I seek mentorship with. I say, I have multiple mentors. I tell my mentors that I have multiple mentors and I get different learnings from each of you. I tell my mentees, please don't feel obligated to stay with me. After 6 months, go seek other people. I actively encourage them to seek other people because I'm not an end-all. I'm not a know-all. There is so much more they can learn. So it is not a personal thing. If they go and they come back after 6 months or 6 years and say, I want to mentor with you again, absolutely. So please don't hold on to your mentees. This is all about learning and growing and finding meaning and purpose. This is not about, forming relationships that are personal, right? They could get personal. They could be lasting friendships, but don't hold on. Focus on the learning, focus on the value. And they can derive that value, encourage them to go and get that value. I have multiple mentors. But for those of us who are newer Toastmasters, going with one mentor, having a studied pace for 6 months, getting through our projects and having a slower but surer pace to it always helps. Once you are on your own, once you're able to manage with a little more confidence and commitment, then you can seek out and be a little more aggressive in seeking out more mentors and pursuing more goals than what you had set out initially. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Sravanthi. Now coming to your last point, do every Toastmaster have the privilege to choose his or her mentor, or we wait for some authority to assign? Is there again a process for this? I'm sorry, I'm bombarding with so many questions, but it's important.
I'll answer it quickly. I'll try to answer it quickly. I know we are getting close to our close time. I will answer it quickly because some clubs do take it upon themselves to assign mentors. It depends on the individual club culture. Especially newer clubs make it a point, and the VP of Education works closely with the other officers to assign and get the mentorship program going, which I think is a fantastic and a foundational idea for club success. Correct? So if your club does that, I would say support it. In this
Here
case,
I am the VP for my club.
There you go. Now you and I can talk about it, right? How you can assign mentors. How can you, because you're a brand new club, how can you encourage peer mentorship perhaps? And how can, as each of you, some of you have not even completed one level. I know that. Some of you may have completed 1 or 2 levels. So we can talk about that. I can provide you some guidance and hook you up with someone else within the district even to help. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I would say support the mentorship program and then move forward from there. Right? And an individual Toastmaster can seek out any mentor. There is nothing stopping him or her from seeking out mentors from outside their club or anyone else in the world.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Did I leave anyone unattended? Thank you, Umar. I see you have left. And there was one question, with your permission. I think it came as a private message to me. I don't know if this person is still here. How can a mentor remove biases from a protege? Does anyone understand what a bias is? Yeah? Bias. I'll put it in here for those of us who may or may not have heard of it. It is a bias. Bias means leaning. You see? It's an automatic thing that we do as humans. And the question was very pointed, and I wanted to address this because it said it makes an implicit assumption that the bias is in the protege. I will repeat it. The question came from someone and it says, how can I remove biases from a protege? The question is incorrect. How can we address a bias is the question. Correct? Because bias is implicit within all of us, my friends. We are all carrying those, and that's why we call them unconscious biases. We are not conscious of a lot of our biases. So they are implicit within all of us. And the best way to overcome a bias is to address it, is to ask, is to recognize, is to increase awareness. And that's why I had this on for you. That's why I had this on for you. And I will leave you with this. For those of you who have not, we can have an entire session for this. This is called the waterline of visibility. It's called a diversity iceberg. Today, you may have learned a few things about me, right? Pragya was very gracious in giving me an introduction. Some of you said, I mentor you. Some of you thanked each other in the session. Some of you know a little bit about one another here. But what you know is probably a tip of the iceberg. What you don't know is really underwater here. So through conversation, through this connection, through being open, right? Through being sincere and honest and authentic, we lower the waterline of visibility as individuals and as communities. Do you see? As we lower the waterline of visibility, we see each other better. That's how we address our biases, right? That's how we address our biases. You may say, oh my God, Sravanthi is so kind. She must have no fear. How do you know? I have enormous fear of a bunch of things. You may never know, right? But maybe we talk a little more. Maybe we connect again. Maybe I tell you about how I can't swim and I'm deathly afraid of water. Then you know I have a fear. You see? I'm just making it very simple. It's lot more complex than that. But you see, a little by little, we lower that waterline as individuals, one on one, one to many, one to community, one to country, one to group, however that might be. It starts always one to one. If I know you better, if I interact with you a little more, I have a better chance of addressing my own unconscious biases and being open to embracing you in whatever relationship you might come. Because people welcome us into their lives, we are better, we are richer. So this is what I wanted to leave you with. It's called the diversity iceberg. For those of you who have not explored it, this is the most powerful visual that you can ever find to help yourselves. Self-awareness can start right here. All right. So that's where we are. I hope you have had some taste of how we can together. And that's why I said, when we discussed what the title would be, co-creating. The possibilities are endless. As you can probably imagine, your imagination is your only limit. So together with your mentor, if you respect the process, if you respect humanity, if you respect one another as people and understand that you bring your strengths to bear and you value the differences that you carry within you, you can create anything together. And I know I have been enormously blessed to have a lot of mentors and mentees who enrich my life. So if I have encouraged you to consider this, whether as a mentee or a mentor, I know we have made progress today. If you're hesitant to be a mentor, please reach out to any of us. We can help you get up there. We can hold your hand. We can put you up there in positions where you feel empowered enough to mentor someone. And if you never sought out a mentor, that is your first action item, is to go get a mentor. Because you can never fully understand how you can be a better mentor if you've never had one, right? Okay. So thank you, Sandeep, and thank you, Pragya. Thank you all for your incredible participation. You have made my day. You have made me a better person just for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sravanthi ma'am. And I feel that the learnings every time I listen to you. So I happen to be one of your mentees too and have learned a lot in this journey. But I feel that every time I listen to you, there's something new that I'm learning. And I think we all are learning from the depth, not just a superficial thing that what is it all about. And that's what makes us more enriched, our journey taking forward with a lot of learnings and all. So with this, thank you so much for joining us today. Sravanthi ma'am, can you please make me the host? I will just share the certificate. I would request our PQD Toastmaster Sandeep.
Thank you so much, Pragya, for this opportunity. I would really like to thank wholeheartedly distinguished Toastmaster Sravanthi for presenting such an insightful and excellent session on mentoring. As a new district, we need such kind of session to empower each member to become a better mentor and also a mentee. Thank you so much, Sravanthi ma'am. We really thank you, and we understand that it's early hours for you. We wanted to shift this to 6 to 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time, but Sravanthi ma'am thought it's a weekend time for Indians, so I don't want to disturb them. Instead, I will take the pain. I will rise early. I'll wake up early and take the session, but I don't want to disturb the weekend for the district 126 members. That's so kind of you, ma'am. That itself shows how a mentor should be actually. Thank you so much, Sravanthi ma'am. And with this,
You are very welcome. I can tell you my husband's very happy because I never wake up before 8 a.m. on the weekends unless I have something like this. So he's waiting with coffee and I'm all good. I'm so happy you found value in this, and thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
it's our pleasure, ma'am. On the same note, I would like to thank another person here, the host for today, Toastmaster Pragya. She also exhibited the spirit of mentee. She's not at all well. She has very high temperature, but she stood up to the occasion and she went on to become the host. I joined and I wanted to take over from here. But again, she told my mentor is giving the session here. So I want to be here as a mentee, and she never gave up. So my heartfelt appreciation and thanks to you, Toastmaster Pragya. You always stand beside me to take every initiative forward. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pragya. A huge applause to you and Sravanthi ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. So today we all learned the ropes of how we can be amazing mentors as well as amazing mentees. I think there is nothing left more for us to think, question, or probably be curious about, because DTM Sravanthi has literally answered every single doubt that I ever had in my mind about mentor-mentee relationship and why a mentor is so important. And at the same point of time, why being a mentee is itself a journey that is so enriching and it's full of learning, I would say. So thank you, DTM Sravanthi, again for joining us.